Hello, welcome to Field2Donor version 2, the activity and expense management software for NGOs and nonprofits working anywhere in the world. Using this tool, you can track your project or grant activities and expenses, manage budgets with real-time visibility, and monitor project outcomes all in one platform. To get started, you will sign up for early access and you'll submit your email. Once you do that, within 24 hours or less, you will receive your login details on email and you'll be able to be redirected to a page that looks like this for you to set up your password and log in. So I will show you how it looks like once you log in. So once you log in, this is how it will look like. The most important steps when you log in is to first add your donors and then set up your projects and then assign users from your team to the projects to which they're implementing or managing. So first we'll add a donor. This is just an example. We can use UNESCO. It's a grant. The grant number is 78921. And any other information that you may want to add. The tool can also just help you keep a clean database or on your donors and their information so that members of your team can access this information when they need it. So we'll add donors. Next, we'll set up projects. Remember, you can set up as many projects as your organization is managing. You can also manage project budgets and organization budgets. I will show you organization budgets later. Let me start with project budget. So this could be a grant or this could be a project maybe funded by funded through crowdfunding or any other sources. You will need your project proposal and you will need your project budget. There are two ways to get started. You can manually set this up, that is copy pasting from your proposal. You will add your results framework, your timeline, budget, who are the stakeholders, the work plan, budget lines. If you have any expense threshold policies within your organizations, and you'll be able to link the project to the location of implementation as well as tag it based on the type of project. You can do this manually or you can use our AI feature, which we've added to version 2 to help you get started on your own. So we'll choose a file, we'll choose a proposal. Proposal. Remember to use the final proposal document, even though you can always edit once the project has been set up. You can add your project proposal, you can add project budget, you can add your log frame, and you can also add maybe your work plan. So as you can see, it has imported this data and I'll now review it to make sure that it is accurate. Make sure you review the data before you confirm import to make sure that it aligns closely to the proposal that you've uploaded. I confirm that this is okay, and so I will confirm import. Now I'm going to add the project budget. Especially for bigger budgets, the AI feature may be a great assistant because you'll be able to just import it and then review the data, adjust where it's inaccurate, and this will help you get started in less than 15 minutes. So now it's imported the data and I'll review it. As you can see, it's imported the budget lines. It has also categorized, which allows you to track per category, whether it's personnel costs or program expenses. It has also taken the activities, the objectives, the outputs, and so I will deselect the objectives because we don't need this for the project budget. And then I confirm the input. So now it has copied this. As you can see, the results framework is there, right? So this is, yeah, this is not accurate. So I've deleted that. Outputs, the timeline and budget. And then you'll come and select the stakeholders. You have two types of stakeholders. You have the budget owners. This is a member of your team. It could be yourself or someone else that you could assign to this project. They have all the rights to review, approve anything related to this project on the application. Then you select the donor. Once you do that and you've confirmed that everything is okay, you're going to select the locations. So you'll set up the threshold. I don't have the threshold, so I'll unmark that. Select the locations of the projects. And then this is a youth project, and I will click on Create Project. So for organizations that have a different budget, that is, you have your organizational budget, that maybe it's a consolidation of all the administrative costs from all the projects and you manage this separately, then you'll be able to track that and I'll show you. This is specifically for grants where you have a specific project proposal and a budget that you're implementing. So as you can see, the project dashboard is done and you'll be able to view this here. As you spend, you'll be able to notice the progress in the budget lines here. Every time you request an activity, you'll be able to see what has been approved, what has been spent so far, and the progress. So that's the project dashboard. Once you set up your projects, there are two main interactions on the platform, the more common interactions, that is the expenses and the activities. Under expenses, we have two features. You can request for an expense and you can record an expense, and that will be here under actual expenses. So let me delete this. It was from a previous interaction. So how do you make a new request? You click on new, you will see request approval. Yes. And we have some guidelines there just in case. If you'd like to request from the organization budget, you can do so. But right now, we're requesting from the project budget because that's what we've set up. You will select the project. You will also select the activity for this expense. Let's say it's a youth community event. We'll select the title, maybe let's just say social event. Describe the expenditure. So maybe you are requesting for venue and refreshment costs for social event. This is just so that your finance person can understand the context. The planned date, let's say it's April 22nd. Now, you can request the expense according to the budget lines, and that's kind of like the best feature about this application. So the budget line, you'll see here we had venue rental. For youth social community events, you'll select that. What is this expense for? Venue. Estimated amount, maybe 5,000. Payment, maybe will be made via M-Pesa. Who will be paid for this item? Maybe John, Ada, Maina. Any details that you may want to add. Then you can add another budget line. Let's say you want meals. So you'll select the budget lines. We'll see, did we have money for some meals? Yes, we had meals and refreshment. So we can select from here and say meals, estimated amount, let's say 5,000. The payment will be made via M-Pesa, and the person who will be paid is Mondi. You can add any details. So from here, you'll be able to see that what has been requested is 10,000, but it has been requested in the specific budget lines. Once you do that, you can add any supporting documentation, whether that is quotes, maybe concept note for this activity or anything that's required on your end according to your organization policy to review and approve a cost. Then you'll submit this for approval. Once you submit this, you'll be able to see this in your dashboard that you've submitted a request for venue for meals at 10,000. It will go to your manager who will then review and approve the expense. And then this app is the first layer that then builds onto the bank transfer or the M-Pesa transfer that you'll be able to do it outside the platform. Once the activity has been done, you need to record the expense. So you have maybe receipts and any other documentation. Still, we're in the expenses tab. We just went to actual expenses, click on new, and you can say record expense. Now, to record the expense, you'll see again, this expense was under, you had meals, right? And it was for youth social community activity. Then you'll be able to add your receipt for meals. Maybe the receipt was 5,000 also. You paid via M-Pesa, the vendor's name, whoever the vendor was. This is just an example, and any other details. Maybe you can say breakfast for guests. And here is where you upload the receipt. So you can upload the receipt as a photo because you can also use this app on your phone. You can also upload it as a PDF file or a Word document. You can also upload it as a link to your Google Drive maybe. And if you don't have a receipt, then we have an added layer of verification for those who work in informal areas. Maybe it's a rural area, there are no formal vendors. So maybe you said you bought bananas for breakfast for the guest, right? How do you verify? You take photos of what you bought, right? You show the bananas. You add the vendor details, where they are, their location. If you're with a member of your team, the person who's witnessed the expense being made. Sorry, this is the signed acknowledgement. So the vendor can also sign that they received the payment. Or maybe someone from your team is present and they witness, and so they add their details. Or if you've paid it via M-Pesa or you have a delivery note, then you can also add it here. So you would have to provide at least one form of proof that this expense was made for you to be able to use this. So maybe it's a photo. Maybe we can add a photo as an example for us to just see. Yeah. Not only will it add the photo of what has been purchased, but it's also going to tag the location to which this photo was added, meaning if you are at the venue of the location and you would like to verify that indeed this expense was made for the activity, then you can do this at the venue. So it will be able to document the GPS. So this is just an added layer of verification for those times where you're working with rural or informal vendors, or you're buying things that are informal that you're not able to, let's say, get a formal receipt, and yet you still have to account to your donor for this. So you can see the verification is complete and the expense has been saved. So you'll see here the actual expenses. And the actual expenses, you'll see that you've documented the 5,000 and there's a missing receipt, right? But it's also going to give you that added layer of verification. Another interaction that's going to be more common for your team using the tool is the activities. Here you'll see all the activities that have been listed for this project. If you have a work plan, I'd advise that you add the accurate dates, because then it allows the system to help you track if you're delayed in your implementation, if there's an activity that's coming up that you need to prepare. And in each activity here, once you implement, you will come and document the outcomes of the activity. So you don't need to create something new. You just need to come to the activity itself, right? Who was the facilitator? You assign them. Maybe it has been completed. So this is where you fill in your activity report. What happened at the activity? You can also record a voice note at the bottom if you um, don't have the ability to type or do not want to type. Then you also select the participants, and here you're going to add the participants in your activity by gender, by age group, and who were they? Were they youth? Yes, they were youth. Then you can also link this to the specific output of the project. That's why it's important to add your results framework. So you can say this activity is linked to output number 1. What were the results? What did you observe? You'll be able to key in this, and this is optional. If there were quotes from beneficiaries, then you'll be able to add this here. Remember, while Field2Donor is an activity and expense management tool, it also helps with reporting, whether it's reporting to management on project progress or reporting to donors. So it's important that you document if there is a quote, who has been quoted, and so on. Then you'll be able to tie in the related expenses to this activity. So, what did you spend on this activity? Maybe you spent on meals and refreshments. How much was spent? 5,000. Payment M-Pesa, who was paid, and so on. So just to say that there are two ways of documenting project progress. If you document at the expenses tab, you will start by documenting the expenses and then they link these expenses to actual activities. If you start by documenting activities, just like we're doing now, you'll see you'll start with the activities, outcomes of the activities, and so on. But you have the option to link expenses related to this activity at the bottom here, in a way that once you do this, once you update this, it's able to track your so you can see here we have the activities that I think it was this one. I've forgotten, but basically these are the activities here. And if you key in the participants, you should be able to see a reflection of who you've reached here. You can also download a specific activity report. So if you just want to share an activity report with your team or with your managers, then you're able to do this, and it will be able to highlight not only what happened, but the related expenses to this activity. If you're implementing the same activity twice, you can duplicate so that you don't have to manually type in these activities. So under grant management, you'll set up your donors, you'll set up your projects, and you'll be able to record or request for expenses, as well as log your activities or document your activity outcomes. The next module is on financial management, and this is where mostly your managers, your finance or program managers will be able to review your expenses. If there's an expense request, you'll see there was an expense request here. They'll be able to view it. They see the amount, the reason for expense, the project and the budget line, and the approved, right? So then they can approve it. Once they approve it, this is what you use to then withdraw funds. Then once you submit your receipts or your reconciliation from the activities, it will also be here so that the finance manager can approve. So they'll be able to approve the expenses. So you'll see all of this here. If there's a conflict, say one person has uploaded data that is conflicting to existing data, either because of the same budget lines or the same expenses, then your manager will be able to review any conflicts and approve or reject this. I spoke about two ways of tracking budgets. We have the project budgets and we have the organization or overheads or operating budgets. So if you'd like to do this, these are separate from grant budgets. You can create those budgets here. Remember, it's a multi-currency feature, so you can select maybe dollars and you can create your budget. You can import your organizational budget using AI, same process, and it should be able to document that. Then we have the finance overview. This is where you will have an overview of your expenses, your project health, how much has been spent, and per budget line, right? So you'll be able to see if there's any variance, it's going to be here. If you're on track, it's going to be here. And if you're not on track, it's going to flag this here. So the finance overview is your dashboard for finances only. So that's under financial management. Our third module is the reports. Under reports, this allows you to generate reports, as I said, either for donors or for internal organizational management or reporting to the board. You can download either executive summary, financial report, progress report, activity report, if you just want to get data on a specific donor and the organization financial health. So you can download this based on what you want. As you can see, you can just choose the project. Do you want it monthly, quarterly, annually, or a custom? Then you select the dates. And even here in the report, you can choose what you want to see in that report, right? What did we learn is also here, what changed. So this allows you to just select what really you want to see in the report, because maybe you just want to report on the finances, so you don't need all of this. If you have photos from activities, you can also include them here. And generate report. It takes a few seconds, as you can see, just less than 5 seconds to generate the report. And you should be able to share with us feedback. Once you generate the report, please let us know, was it accurate? Did it reflect your data? And so that we can improve on this feature. Finally, and our last module is on documents, which is pretty much our cloud storage. This allows you to have all your documentation in one place, meaning the tool is end to end. You can have all your receipts here. You can have all your activity reports here. If your projects have been completed and you no longer want to view them, you can archive them, and all the files from your archive projects will still be here. So you are not going to lose anything while using this tool, and you do not need an external site like Google Drive or another cloud platform to be able to use this. And this is because also you can download all documents. Everything is downloadable for audit purposes, but also for the sake of organizations that are using complementary system. So let's say you're using Sage, or you're using QuickBooks, or you're using any other tool, and you would like to, align, you can always integrate Field2Donor with Sage so that you have a comprehensive system. If you're not using another accounting system, because this can help you with managing your budgets without necessarily the added layer of a complicated accounting system. But you have to remember that this now ties to your payment system. So if you will need documentation, the approval to pay, you will download it from the site and then upload it to either your banking system or your other financial system that allows you to make transfers. Finally, the site, or rather the app, works also offline. All you have to do is log in for the first time using internet. And once you're logged in, you can always use it offline. Once you come back online, all the data will be uploaded, which means that at the point of request and at the point of reporting, you should be able to have real-time data on your budget balances. Thank you very much. I hope you can give yourself and your organization a chance to use this system. And remember to share feedback with us. We're always looking to improve and make the experience friendly for nonprofits and NGOs working anywhere in the world. Thank you very much.